Hello, Marielle here, and today's teaching tip is about morning community centers that allow students to practice social-emotional learning in a fun, engaging, and meaningful way. These games are perfect for kinder through second grade classrooms, although I'm sure you could adapt them for other grades as well. Check out the time codes below in the description box to help you focus on individual sections. Every morning, my students begin with 10 to 15 minutes of free choice collaborative games and activities. These games not only allow students to ease into their day, but it also fosters really great social connections, creative thinking skills, and excellent problem-solving techniques. I'll be going through each of my activity options, but be sure to stay until the end when I tell you my favorite ways to get a hold of all of these activities for super cheap or even free. Here is a list of my students' favorite activities to do during our morning community centers. The first activity that I always have out are floor puzzles. I really like floor puzzles because the pieces are big, the students get to spread it out, and it can be done cooperatively. And most of the time, they can finish the entire puzzle in the allotted time. Plus, finishing the puzzle as a group gives the students a great sense of accomplishment. Next on my list is a big old bin of Lego. Nothing quite leads to imaginative play and creativity quite like a huge bin filled with miscellaneous Lego pieces. The next game on my list is one that is consistently the only board game that is popular with every grade level I've ever taught, from preschool all the way through middle school. And that game is Connect 4. It's easy to set up, most kids already know how to play it. It involves taking turns and has some really fun challenges for forming strategies. Just keep in mind that only 2 kids can play at once, so you may want to have more than one set. Along those same lines, I also like to have a tic-tac-toe set. I found this simple felt one at the dollar store. I also like to have at least one set of double 6 dominoes, and my students' newest favorite game, jacks. If it's been a while since you've played jacks, I've gone ahead and linked a video in the description box that goes over the rules and variations of the game. You can also use it to teach your students how to play. What I love about jacks is that they're fairly simple to set up, they don't take up much room, but they're an awesome way for students to work on their fine motor skills and hand-eye coordination. Other activities I like to include are creative construction games. These include things like magnet tiles and marble runs. Kids love building super creative objects with the magnet tiles or creating very intricate and tall towers with the marble run. Just be sure you have plenty of extra marbles on hand for the marble run because they'll totally disappear under your bookshelves. Another station I like to have is an imaginative play corner. This can include things like puppets, dress-up costumes, or stuffed animals. Here the students create their own dramatized play and fun original stories. The last station that I always have available is coloring. There are always a few students who need a quiet start to their day and prefer to sit and color instead of playing a game. The interesting part about this station, however, is that it always becomes a communal area. Students really enjoy coloring as a group and talking to each other as they create their art. I like having coloring pages and blank paper available with plenty of colored pencils or crayons at this station. I'm sure there are many other activities that you could add to your morning community stations. In fact, if you have any ideas that you think our community would enjoy, please leave a comment below. One thing to note is that I don't have out all of the activities all the time. I like to rotate through 5 or 6 daily choices and change just 1 or 2 of them up every week. That way, there are always some old favorites, but we keep it fresh with some new activities as well. So at this point, you're probably thinking, how in the world am I going to afford to buy all these things? Well, I'll tell you that very few of these activities I actually had to buy at full price. Most of these games and activities you can find at thrift stores and garage sales. In fact, I found my entire marble run for $5 at a local thrift store. Another option is to create a post on your social media account to see if your friends would be willing to donate any of the activities. I found that there are always people whose children have outgrown Lego or there's always someone with a huge bin of random pieces that they don't want anymore. Another option is to enlist your colleagues. Perhaps you could pool your resources to purchase a few of the more expensive items and then rotate them between your classes on a weekly or monthly schedule. Don't forget to check with your school's nonprofit status to see if any local businesses would be willing to donate the items for a tax write-off. It's always worth it to ask. The last little tip I want to give you is what to do if there are disagreements between the students. Ultimately, there'll be a few little conflicts like who gets to take the first turn or who gets to choose the favorite puppet. And I found that the easiest and quickest way to solve these is rock, paper, scissors. My students know that if they are arguing over whose turn it is or who gets to be the red tokens in Connect 4, the answer is always whoever wins at rock, paper, scissors. Quick, fair, and final. Interested in more engaging and high-interest games for your classroom? Then check out this video all about my students' favorite sight word games, or this video that shows you the quiz that they actually begged me to take.